And obviously, you come here, monks always going drawing on about generosity, and you say, yeah, of course you guys talk about generosities. You don't do any work. We have to feed you. Yes, you can be cynical, but actually, it's also an encouragement to test that out. And when you're generous, when you give things, when you do things for other people, have the mindfulness to bring that up, to know and to feel. What does that feel like when you do an act of charity, spontaneously, without being asked? You see a dirty floor, you go get something, you mop it up. Quietly, nobody knows you did it. How does that feel inside? And know for yourself what generosity feels like as a physical sensation. Know what it feels like when you want something, when you're so obsessed with certain things that nothing and nobody's cares and worries is going to get in your way. Know also, how does that feel? A lot of times, we're mindful and we're honest that the feeling of doing things for others, the feeling of giving things to others, is vastly superior to the acquisition mind of wanting more and nothing's ever good enough. So in Buddhism, it's nothing. You have to stay here, sit here, and kind of take my words for it. But it's more of an invitation, an encouragement to really try things out, investigate, and learn through your own experience. Here I can relate my own experience and offer that, and encourage people to practice. But unless you have, unless you kind of investigate on your own, it was still just words, really. It's only through your own experience can wisdom arise. Through your own acts of kindness can you experience the happiness. And gratitude, it's one way. But then another way to look at life is the good enough. Good enough is a great attitude to take, because it also cuts away the diversity, the going out and doing more things. Good enough is a great way. It's a lazy man's enlightenment, because you don't have to do anything. You just have to look at things from a different angle. Your practice is good enough. You're still going to sit there. You sit in meditation, your mind's all over the place, thinking, worrying, planning, the knees are aching. But that's okay. It's good enough. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sign up for another 9-day course. You don't have to, listen to another tape, because it's good enough. Nothing more to do. I mean, can you imagine a world, especially what happens to all the divorced lawyers? If your spouse is good enough, your husband is good enough, you don't have to go around looking for another one. And that's a lot of suffering. You put on makeup, you got to go to the gym, and do all sorts of silly things to find new partners these days. But the one you have is good enough, it's great. No needs to be done. It goes towards peace. It goes towards letting go. And that's why the good enough is a spiritual quality. It's a spiritual attitude. And brings you back to the present moment. Always what's happening here and now. Good enough. So only in the present moment that we can really be happy. Only what's happening now that we can really know life. But with most of us, we're in the past feeling guilty about what's happening, or getting angry for what happened to us. Someone did something. And we get very annoyed, and we carry that around. And a lot of times we have the mindfulness to look and investigate. It's an obvious fact, any anger, ill will, resentment, it's a waste of time. Whatever that person said or done is gone. It's like spilled milk. You can't put it back in the bottle. The only thing to do is to let go, to give people the benefit of the doubt. We're not always very mindful. We say things many times, even monks, that we shouldn't have said. But yet, just a slight, 3 seconds interaction, and yet you carry around, sometimes many hours, sometimes days. How dare he say that to me? I do not eat like a pig. I'm very mindful. And it's like it's like 2 seconds. And then we carry around the grudge. But we're mindful, we say, okay, this is a waste of time, it's done. Maybe that person, maybe he wasn't talking to me. Maybe he was talking to the other monk on the other side of him. But yet we take things very seriously. So, with investigation, with mindfulness, you see any kind of grudge, holding, it's a waste of time. Because it doesn't lead to peace. It takes up all our energy. We're wasting our energy thinking about what that person said, what person's done. And it's gone. And with most of us, sometimes we can carry things for years and years. We're not talking to our relatives, not talking to our mother or father or something, for some silly fight that we had 20 years ago. And we're still not speaking to them. No, I'm not speaking to you. You said something wrong. You didn't appreciate all the hard work I put in or something. Or you missed my graduation, or you didn't pick me up on time. I'm not going to have anything more to do with you. A lot of times you can see that clearly, that it's causing us a lot of suffering. Ill will, it's a good simile for ill will. It's like having a hot piece of coal in a bucket of it. And ill will is that trying to pick up that piece of coal and throw it at the object of your ill will, the person who did something wrong to you. Yes, first thing you notice when you try to pick that up is you burn yourself first. And that's the same thing with your mind. If you picked up that ill will, the interaction in the past, you're carrying around the negativity already. That person probably completely forgotten what he or she said to you. But here you are carrying that ill will around for hours or days or years even. And then you say, okay, yeah, I don't care. I want to get him anyway, or her. So you throw it at the person. But a lot of times you miss. And that's the problem. Because it's so hot. You don't have very much mindfulness, you throw it. And many, many times, instead of hitting the object of your ill will that fully deserves it, you hit somebody you love. Because they happen to be standing by as well. And that's also what happens with ill will. When you're angry inside, you're not going to be able to contain it. The person, the object of your ill will is not around. Guess who gets it? Whoever you're with. And it's usually your family. Thing that's, as a monk, with mindfulness, we encourage you to really investigate. What happens with grudges? What happens with resentment? It's right here. You burn, this mind first, and then next is the family, and that person, whoever you triggered it, the trigger of the ill will, is not there anymore. He's happily doing his own things. So a lot of times I encourage people with any kind of emotion, negative emotions, to be aware. Where is it in the body? There's always a physical manifestation of your emotional state, and you're sensitive to the body. Ill will is a tightness around the chest, tightness around the abdomen. And once you become skilled at this, sweeping your body, being sensitive, connecting with it, knowing what's happening on a physical level, you can learn to relax it. Relax the physical part, relax your chest. Instead of focusing on the trigger of your ill will, you focus on what's happening in the body, what's happening right now. And once you learn how to soothe it, to relax it, then, surprise, the ill will is gone. Slowly. And that way, because when you focus on the body, you don't focus on the trigger. It's focusing on the trigger, this person or the event. It's that which will reinforce the negativity and build it up to something much, much bigger. And it's like you said, when it really boils down to, it's a couple minutes interaction at best. But yet, we let our days, hours and hours and weeks go by fuming about little things. But with good enough, you say, I don't care what that person said. Whatever's happening right now is good enough. I'm not worrying about in the future.